the Senate. Joint meeting of OPEC and non-OPEC producers extend production cut by 9 months. And emphasize the things that unite the nation, a charge to Nigerians by acting President Yemi Osinbajo. Hello there, and thanks for joining us on the NTA Network News. I am Fumi Wakama. The Senate has passed the long-awaited Petroleum Industry Governance Bill, which promises broad reform to the nation's oil and gas industry. National Assembly correspondent Waziri Zayano brings us details.
The bill, which seeks total reformation of the oil and gas sector, was formulated to create efficient and effective governing institutions with clear and separate roles for the petroleum industry. Presenting the report on the bill produced by the Senate Joint Committee on Gas, Petroleum Downstream and Petroleum Upstream, Senator Donald Alasha Adura, representing Ondo Central, noted that the objective of the bill also include establishing a framework for the creation of commercially oriented and profit-driven entities.
Promote transparency and accountability in the administration of the petroleum resources of Nigeria.
Divergent views were expressed by the senators on the bill.
We want to create a one-stop regulatory commission where everything about petroleum industry can be attended to.
If we leave this matter in the hands of the oil industry, we may end up with a situation where we will spend our time fighting over issues that we should not be concerned with at this point in our development.
It is so important, not only for the petroleum industry, but for the entire economy of this country.
The Ministry of Environment's own responsibility is to supervise the body that should ensure that certain things don't happen.
The minister is responsible for the policy, while the board is responsible for implementation of the policy.
At the Committee of the Whole, the PIB was scrutinized clause by clause with few amendments made.
I hope with this bill, the oil and gas industry will begin to see the new kind of investment that is necessary. We'll plug all the loopholes, be able to reduce the areas of corruption, inefficiency. People will be able to benefit better in the petroleum sector, and that Nigerians will be better for it.
The bill is expected to be sent to the House of Representatives for concurrence and then signed by the presidency. In the meantime, the Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu said the constitutional amendment bill, when passed, will address legal challenges faced by young people seeking to run elections. He stated this when the Not Too Young to Run campaign paid advocacy visit to the Deputy Senate President. The Not Too Young to Run campaign is a movement of over 80 youth civil society organizations working to promote democracy in Africa. From the National Assembly, Waziri Zayano, NTA News.
And still on the bill, the All Progressives Congress APC has commended the Senate on the passage of the Petroleum Industry Bill, PIB, which seeks to introduce reforms that will ensure greater transparency and accountability in the Nigerian oil and gas industry. The party noted that the bill had languished in the various chambers of the National Assembly for about 12 years, but took the purposeful and dedicated APC-led Senate to pass the bill. A statement by the party's National Publicity Secretary, Malam Balaji Abdullahi, said the APC specially commend the Senate President, Dr. Bukola Saraki, for his focused leadership, which has produced several legislative actions that have positively affected the lives of Nigerians, promoted good governance, and advanced ongoing efforts by the APC-led administration to rebuild the country. It said the passage of the bill is an indication that the federal legislators are diligent and reform-minded and are committed to fulfilling the promises the party made Nigerians, and urged the House of Representatives under the leadership of Honorable Yakubu Dogara to follow the example of the Senate by also promptly passing the PIB. The APC called on Nigerians to continue to support and cooperate with President Muhammadu Buhari-led APC administration and the National Assembly as they continue to make laws and execute projects to improve the well-being of Nigerians. Elsewhere, the joint meeting of OPEC and non-OPEC producers in Vienna has extended its production cut by 9 months, effective July 1st, 2017. The conference, OPEC President Khalid Al-Falih says, grants Nigeria, Libya and Iran further concession for the period in solidarity, considering the geopolitical challenges and negative impact on their national revenues. Following collaboration between OPEC and non-OPEC producers, both parties agreed on December 10, 2016, to cut production by 1.8 million barrels per day, a decision that has helped stabilize global oil market, with oil prices rebounding around a $50 to $55 band. Nigeria's Minister of State Petroleum Resources, in an interview with energy correspondent Hawa Saliu Adama, describes the development as heartwarming and that it will enable Nigeria meet its developmental need. And I'm now being joined by Hawa Saliu Adama in Vienna, Austria, and together we shall be taking a look at the implication of this for the country. Hello, Hawa. Can you hear me?
Nice to join you.
Now, let's take a look at the implication of this extension of production cut by 9 months to OPEC countries.
The implication of this quote, it's very obvious, in the sense that it means more money for producing countries, especially considering the fact that most of these producing countries have this sector as their main, or rather, their cash cow. So when you have an extension of quote, it means that more money is coming in the sense that they now have more money to take care of their developmental needs, but overall is ensuring that there is stability in the global oil market.
Nigeria, Libya and Iran are exempted from this production cut. How does that affect the oil sector back home in Nigeria?
Well, you may recall that when the conference held last year, November, Nigeria, Libya and Iran were given exemption because of the geopolitical situation in these countries. Even though some of these countries like Nigeria have, in a way, boosted their production, daily production, we still had the minister rooting for Nigeria to be exempted. And after a convincing presentation, Nigeria and the other countries got the exemption. What this means is that there will be more investment. Take, for instance, Nigeria. We just had some sections of the petroleum industry bill passed in Nigeria today. This means that there will be more confidence on the part of investors to invest in the sector. And this means more development for the sector.
Before I let you go, can you just let us into some of the critical issues that were examined at the meeting?
The conference today was a very elaborate one, in the sense that for the first time we had not just the OPEC members meeting, we also had a meeting of the OPEC and non-OPEC members coming together. And the issues basically were surrounding improving cooperation. Cooperation in the sense that it's not just a fight of OPEC to ensure that there's stability in the sector, the global oil market. It has to do with all other parties coming together, OPEC, non-OPEC alike, and even we had a situation where the Secretary General, Dr. Mohamed Sanusi Barkindo, told the press that at a conference in the United States, that they had to involve even the shale producers to ensure that there is stability in the sector. So these were some of the issues that were raised today, and also the outlook for the remaining part of 2017 and the first part of 2018, as the 9-month exemption or extension covers the period between now, which is July 1st, 2017 to the first quarter of 2018.
Many thanks, Hawa. Let me allow you go now. Thanks for filling us in on the meeting, and we hope to see you very soon. Now, back home, the National Economic Council has urged states to acquire more tractors to support the efforts of farmers in boosting food production. Here is State House correspondent Jide Onifade with details of these and other deliberations of the NEC meeting here in Abuja.
As the 2017 farming season enters its critical stage, the Minister of Agriculture made a presentation on severe shortage of tractors in states and urged council to prevail on state government to acquire more tractors to support the efforts of farmers in boosting food production in line with the economic recovery and growth plan. And the council, bowing to his request, urged state to do so.
Now, faced with one other problem, avian flu for chicken. That's one of the things which the commissioners will discuss. And then we have the attack of quilla birds and some other insects that destroy farmlands. And we're going to start another round of spraying because rice harvesting has begun again in the northwest and parts of the northeast. The final challenge is rice smuggling. We are close to achieving self-sufficiency in rice production by the end of this year, especially because we're about to distribute 200 rice mills to those who made bids for them.
The Accountant General of the Federation gave the balance in the excess crude account as at 24th of May 2017 as $2.3 billion. The Accountant General also informed Council that the current budget support loan facility will end in May 2017.
Council was concerned about the fact that we are gradually coming out of recession, and if this budgetary support ceases at the end of May, it might create some lapses in the fight or in our bid to stabilize the economy. So Council resolved that the budgetary support be extended to enable states catch up with the economic challenges of the moment. We are reliably informed that the crude production at Forgado's terminal will soon commence.
So out of the 33.6 billion in the Ecological Fund right now, there is a presidential directive that the Ecological Fund Office must maintain a minimum balance of 20 billion in case of any emergency, any natural disaster requiring intervention.
The governor of Bauchi State also gave a report of the NEC ad hoc committee on the review of the report of the Presidential Technical Committee on Land Reform.
So at the end of the day, all recommendations that tended to tamper with the powers of the governors over control of lands in the states were expunged from the report of the Presidential Technical Committee.
But the highlight of the whole discussion today was a special commendation the Council made on the acting President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, who we have all resolved to call a system stabilizer.
In the State House, Jide Onifade, NT News.
Sequel to Section 34 of the Nigerian Mining and Minerals Act 2007, the Minister of Mines and Steel Development, Dr. Kayode Fayemi, has inaugurated the board of the Solid Minerals Development Fund. Vivian Idekpefo reports that the fund was set up by the federal government to address the fundamental sectoral challenge of insufficient funding.
Nigeria's solid mineral sector has been over the years bedeviled with issues of insufficient funding to attract the right investments and use of modern technology in exploration and exploitation of the nation's vast resources. President Muhammadu Buhari had in November 2016 approved 30 billion naira intervention fund to boost the sector. The National Bureau of Statistics in its 2017 first quarter gross domestic product report indicates that coal mining, metal ores, quarrying and other metals grew strongly by 2.03%, 40.79% and 52.54%. This performance shows that the mining sector has contributed strongly to the steady recovery of the Nigerian economy and can also generate sustainable employment and contribute immensely to the country's energy mix, as outlined in the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan, says Dr. Fayemi.
As our administration marks 2 years in office, we're pleased that these successes are being recorded during our stewardship of this sector and under the direction of Mr. President.
The new board, headed by a geologist, Uba Seydou Malami carries the weight of patriotism to drive the solid minerals development roadmap, even as Nigeria has commenced implementation of the World Bank-supported mineral diversification project.
We shall focus our energy to pursue speedy establishment of the Solid Mineral Fund to ensure achievement of the federal government strategy in the solid mineral sector, especially as enshrined in the economic recovery and growth plan of 2017 to 2020.
We have a position to reclaim from history in terms of being the #3 producer in the world for tin and being the #1 producer for columbine.
The desire to get Nigeria out of this single lane of oil is embedded in the effectiveness of the solid oil, mineral and ministry.
In Abuja, Vivian Idekbefo, NTA News.
And I'm being joined in the studio by the Honorable Minister of State, Mines and Steel Development, Abubakar Bawa Buhari, to throw more light on the expected gains of the Solid Minerals Development Fund. It's nice to have you with us in the studio, Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much.
Now, let's go straight to the point. Your ministry is strategic to government's diversification efforts. What's your projection in terms of revenue generation? We just listened to that report now regarding insufficient funding in your ministry.
Well, when we came in, the problem we had was that of funding for the ministry. And government, through budgetary allocations, increased funding. And there was increase in activities in the sector. We are able now to get money to monitor activities in the sector, and that led to increase in revenue. If we compare the revenue generated in 2015 and 2016, 2015 we were only able to generate 700 million naira. But as of 2016, our revenue rose to 3 billion. We faced a lot of challenges when we came in, and what we did, we discovered there was no sufficient funding, there was a gap in the geoscience data, there was the activities of illegal miners, and our relationship with states and host communities. We looked at all these things and we decided we have to do a roadmap, we have to do things differently if we really want to achieve this diversification program. And what we did was to draw up a roadmap using the stakeholders. After that, we upgraded the roadmap in line with the economic growth recovery plan we have right now. And in so doing, a lot of things happened. We also had problems with our legacy assets like Ajakuta, Etakwe, Delta Steel, and so on. These are things we've been looking at, and I want to tell you that we have improved funding.
Yes, you said you've increased from 700 to 3 billion.
3 billion.
You've been able to do a lot of monitoring activities.
Exactly.
What would you then consider to be your major achievements in the past 2 years?
One, improved funding in the sector. 2, with the budgetary allocation, we'll be able to monitor activities in the sector. And what we had were gaps and a lot of leakages that we are doing. Now, our donor agencies have shown a lot of support, particularly the World Bank. We have the MINDAV program now going on. We're going to get about $150 million. The Natural Resources Fund has given us 30 billion through the president. President has approved 30 billion for funding in the sector, and we're also expecting money from the African Development Bank. We are also expecting money from Abu Dhabi. There's a lot of interest in Nigeria now when it comes to mining. With this, we will be able to organize our artisanal miners and small-scale miners, because Nigerian mining sector is more now populated by these artisanal miners. We will not be able to attract the big time miners like the Rio Tintos and so on. And the reason is that we only have for now basic data. We have to move from basic data to data that is bankable. Okay. With this funding, we'll be able to do that. It's a capital-intensive sector, and we really need this funding to move forward. And that's why today we're able to inaugurate the board. Yes. And with this board, they will now look at the infrastructure gap, because you cannot mine without infrastructure. I'm talking of roads, railways, and inland ports. These are the areas we are looking at. So we are looking at big money. So going forward, Nigerians should expect a lot from your ministry? I want to tell you, big fundings coming in. We will surprise Nigerians. Okay. Nigeria is a mineral nation. We have it, and it's so obvious when you see the activities of artisanal miners all over the country. That shows that there is this potential, and we need just to put our heads together, and put them follow our roadmaps, and we'll hit the road. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We can only wish you the best of luck in your endeavor. I've been speaking with the Honorable Minister of State, Mines and Steel Development, Abubakar Bawa Buhari, on the solid minerals development sector. Moving on now, Acting President Yemi Osinbajo has asked Nigerians to emphasize the things that unite the country as an entity and shun divisive tendencies. At a national dialogue organized by the Shehu Musa Yar'Adua Foundation, the Acting President said, "Together, Nigeria will be great." State House correspondent Jide Onifade brings us that report.
It is 50 years after Nigeria fought the bitter Biafra Civil War, and this event, doing a reflection on the Civil War, unveils the many experiences Acting President Yemi Osinbajo described as the incredibly tragic ravages of war. So much had been said and written in notes, but none could justify the massive loss of lives, hopes, and fortunes. For the many arguments taking the path of separation, Acting President Osinbajo differs, emphasizing that nations that are most successful are indeed made up of different peoples, of different cultures, beliefs, and religions, but found themselves thrown together by circumstances.
Every time we're faced with the frustrations of living together as countrymen and women, the more beneficial way for us, individually and collectively, is actually to apply the effort, the patience, to understand one another, and to progressively aspire to create one nation, which in the words of our anthem, is bound in freedom, in peace, and in unity. That, in a sense, should be the Nigerian dream. The enthusiasm to create a country that provides reasons for the citizens to believe in it. A country that does not discriminate or marginalize. We're not there yet, but I believe that we have a strong chance to advance in that direction.
The Acting President underscores the need for continuous dialogue on issues that would further strengthen coexistence. He also warns against using the media to fan the ember of disaffection and hatred.
But the journey to nationhood is not an event but a process, filled as with life itself, with experiences, some bitter, some sweet. The most remarkable attribute of that process is that a succeeding generation does not need to bear the prejudices and failures of the past.
And recommit ourselves to doing everything we can indeed, to build a just and inclusive nation.
I believe that there's no substitute for us holding Nigeria and massaging it as we massage love. There's no alternative. And I would say that we should even appeal if anybody says he wants to go. Not that you can go if you want to go. Don't go. There's enough in the cake for each and every one of us.
it is in the interest of every one of us for there to be one Nigeria.
The theme of the dialogue is memory and nation building, with a writer, Biafra, 50 years after. From the Shehu Musa Yaradua Center, Abuja, Jide Onifate, NTA News.
Turning to security, the Nigerian Army has constructed a forward operation base in Kafanchan to further secure southern Kaduna in Kaduna State. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa reports that the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tuku Burtai, was represented at the occasion.
Records from Kaduna State government show that southern Kaduna, comprising 7 local government areas, has for decades witnessed different conflicts, resulting to loss of life and property. The forward operation base, a battalion situated in Kafanchan, Jama'ah local government area, was approved after a series of threat analysis as contained in the reviewed 2016 Nigerian Army Order of Battle.
We intend to consolidate on the efforts so far achieved in containing cattle rustling, farmers and herdsmen clashes, banditry, ethno-religious crisis, and other forms of criminalities in this general area.
In a message, the Kaduna State Governor Nasru El-Rufai commended the army for addressing cattle rustling and armed bandits. To the people of southern Kaduna, the FOB is a demonstration of government's commitment to secure the area.
This is an indication that the government at all levels is concerned about the life and security of our citizens.
Crashes could spring up anytime, anywhere. And by having probably a military unit around here, they find that they can easily put off the fire before it's spread.
In addition to this, another approved forward operation base will be constructed in Kachia. From Kafanchan in Kaduna State, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
And still staying with the military, the Nigerian Navy says with an impressive naval fleet of operational ships manned by competent and motivated personnel, it will continue its role of defending Nigeria's maritime integrity and interests. This was at a media briefing by the Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Ibok Eteibas, to flag off the 61st Nigerian Navy Week 2017. Walajide Bello has that report.
Established on June 1st, 1956 as the Nigerian Marines, over time the Nigerian Navy has grown from an offshoot of the Marines to a formidable component of the nation's security architecture. With its remarkable contributions to the security, peace, prosperity and global image of the nation, the legacy of the Navy is to annually celebrate its founding days and assess its operations. Chief of Policy and Plans, Rear Admiral Henry Papalola, who represented the Chief of Naval Staff, speaks on some of the operations in the year under review.
From the society, we've been having at least a minimum of 4 ships specially dedicated to the operation. We look at the very vulnerable areas, established areas up to the and this meant since the inception, the first quarter of last year, the operation is still ongoing. This is independent of other numerous patrols from the command.
He added emphasis is placed on operational availability of ships and capacity building both locally and internationally for effective discharge of duties in line with international best practices in maritime security. The 2017 Nigerian Navy Week will feature Jumat prayers, medical rhapsody, interdenominational church service, as well as sea trips. In Abuja, Olajide Bello, NTA News.
The Sultan of Sokoto, Mohammed Sa'ad Abubakar, has called on Muslims all over the country to be on the lookout for the new moon of Ramadan as from tomorrow, Friday, the 26th of May, 2017. A statement from the Sultanate Council advised any Muslim with useful information on sighting of the moon to contact any of the following numbers: 0803 715 7100, 0806 741 6900, 0806 630 3077, among others. You can watch this news live online via the NTA mobile app, which you can download on your Android device at the Google Play Store or at the Apple Store if you use devices with iOS. Still to come, Information Minister on the imperatives of good content in television programming. Details when we come back.
When the kings of African comedy gather under one roof,
there is only one outcome.
Then we bring down the roof. Come witness the craziest.
And the funniest,
the oh my God! And the baddest of them all. Laughter will scatter your brain well.
Come watch the biggest names in African comedy at Glow Laughter Fest. Basketmouth, Bovi, I Go Die, Sheyi Law, Gordons, Salvador, Osama, Bash, Kenny Black, and many more.
You will never have a bigger gathering of jaw-dropping, whip-cracking comedians under one roof.
One microphone, one network.
All over Nigeria. Yeah, I'm going to be there.
I am going to be there. I'm going to be there.
Live and direct.
For the time of your life.
Will you?
To win a free ticket, use 2,000 Naira in a month and text LOL and your preferred location to 240.
Oh, Laughter Fest. Laugh go kill you, die.
True.
Glow Unlimited.
I can't believe she just rejected me and my camera.
She rejected my lights.
How can she not want makeup?
Maybe when the battery dies, she'll come back to us.
Nah, not with a 4,000 milliampere battery.
Experience the best selfies of your life. Gioni A1 Super Selfie Super Battery.
Rise up this morning, smile with the rising sun. Three little birds pitch by my doorstep, singing sweet songs of melodies pure and true, saying, this is my message to you. Singing, don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Singing, don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright.
There's no limit to what you can do with data. With Nigeria's widest data network, it's amazing what you can make happen on MTN.
This is my message to you.
Hey, now who they here? My name now Mr. Shortcut. I didn't mind my money. Now cheap one, I dey buy. Standard, we size. Now to buy cheap one. Hey, now one kind cable for my yard. A cheap building material where we take build my office. I think say I dey save money. Office building collapse and fire burn my house.
You don't see what happened to Mr. Shortcut? Well, Standards Organization of Nigeria, SON, don't ready for action and say enough of pain, loss and wastage. And if you see product where no dey correct, call the SON office way near you or SON help desk. Standards Organization of Nigeria, improving life through standards.
From the south to the northeast, southeast to the northwest, southwest to the north central, the Future Assured project and its component, Get Involved, is restoring hope to millions of Nigerian women and children.
We are actually doing a lot under Future Assured, the program of Her Excellency Mrs. Aisha Muhammad Buhari. And I believe what we are doing so far is impacting positively on the lives of women and children in Nigeria, particularly those in the internally displaced camps across the nation.
Get Involved supports the Future Assured initiative. Email programs@futureassured.org.ng. Future Assured, promoting and protecting the lives of Nigerian women and children.
Have you seen the new Opera Mini?
Browse faster. Get the latest news. Download videos and extend your data so you can browse all day.
Upgrade to Opera Mini.
Download now for free.
إنما الصدقات للفقراء والمساكين والعاملين
عليها والمؤلفة قلوبهم وفي الرقاب والغارمين.
The management of the Nigeria Television Authority NTA, Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria FRCN, and Voice of Nigeria VON cordially invites the Muslim Ummah and the general public to the 12th annual Ramadan lecture, which will inshallah take place on Saturday, 3rd June 2017 at Lumana Multipurpose Center, River Road, off Jabi Road East, off Sultan Road, Ngwarimi Jare, Kaduna, by 9 a.m. Topic of discuss: ongoing charity in Islam, to be delivered by Sheikh Dr. Isa Ali Pantami, Director General NIDA. Chief host, His Excellency Malan Nasser Ahmad Erufai, Executive Governor, Kaduna State. The Minister of Information, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, will be the special guest of honor, and His Royal Highness Alhaji Dr. Shehu Usman Musa III, Emir of Kefi, will be the chairman of the occasion. Host, Malam Yakubu Muhammad, the Director General NTA, Malam Mansur Liman, Director General FRCN, and Dr. Osita Kichuku, Director General VON. You are welcome. Announcer, Organizing Committee.
You're still watching NTA Network News. The House of Representatives has passed a bill for an act to provide for a legal framework for credit reporting, licensing and regulation of credit bureau in Nigeria. The legislators also passed for second reading a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of an Erosion Control and Prevention Commission in Nigeria. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nkwo reports.
The devastating effects of soil erosion in Nigeria is quite apparent in a number of states, as some communities have been cut off from their neighbors, in some cases, family compounds and roads. And in response to this, members of the House of Representatives are considering a legislation that will establish a body saddled with the primary responsibility of erosion prevention and control in Nigeria. Representative Obinna Chidoka is the sponsor of the bill.
The whole truth is that erosion is a major threat, not just to our ecosystem, but to our national economy and existence as a people.
Members continued on environmental issues as they considered a bill for an act to mainstream climate change responses into government policy, as sponsored by Representative Samuel Onibo.
To ensure that we have a law that guides actions and activities as far as climate change is concerned.
How to promulgate laws and how to make regulations to safeguard our environment.
From environmental issues to security matters, where members considered and passed for second reading a bill for an act to establish a Nigerian Police Reform Trust Fund that will provide funds for the training of personnel of the Nigerian Police Force. That bill is sponsored by Representative Johnson Olamide from Ekiti State. A motion for government to utilize the observation service camps at Chigwong in Pangchin local government area of Plateau State, moved by Representative Timothy Golu, was adopted.
Nigerian Police Force to, as a matter of urgency, deploy patrol personnel to occupy the facility and commence work so as to save lives of accident victims and protect motorists from criminals along the highway.
In the first 20 minutes of the plenary, the House had a valedictory session in honor of the former clerk of the House of Representatives, Gani Ojabohumi, who retired recently.
I pray the Lord God Almighty to protect, preserve, and prosper you.
From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
And we turn our attention to the media industry. The 2017 African Digital Television Development Seminar has successfully ended in Beijing. Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, said for this year's theme, Universalize Digital Television and Enjoy Smart Life to make an impact, Africans must start producing good content that appeal to a wider global audience. Julieta Aino reports that this sentiment was also echoed by the Ghanaian Minister of Communications.
Declared the most successful, most influential and best of all the seminars over the years, the 7th African Digital TV Development Seminar ended on a financial note.
This year, the three major pillars of digitalization were addressed. That's technology, content, and financing.
The 12-man expert panel took questions from African ministers and representatives, trying to clear up initial confusions and financial misunderstandings between both sides. All African ministers renewed their commitments to friendship with StarTimes and China. Minister of Information, Culture and Tourism Lai Mohammed said Nigeria will build digital content from cultural values.
I look at content from one area, we can actually start to colonize and dominate the outside world. Content is very important because you see, when you have powerful content that depict your nation positively, it changes the way your nation is viewed and it brings more respect to you. Our filmmakers must stop thinking in terms of just Nigeria. They should be thinking global.
If you look at the content on our televisions, and I'm happy this is NTA, we watch a lot of Nigerian movies in Ghana. In the same way, we can also develop even more content which other TV stations around the world can also enjoy and showcase our culture.
President StarTimes Group Pang Xingshin in his closing remarks said StarTimes will continue to prove itself as a reliable partner in the implementation of digital migration in Africa. From Beijing, China, Julieta Aino, NTA News.
And from Beijing, we cross over to Lagos, the center of excellence, where the acting president explains government policies to the private sector. Ademola Adeoye is our guide. Good evening, Ademola.
Good evening to you, Fumi, and warm welcome to Lagos. Acting President Professor Yemi Osinbajo says the federal government will go extra mile to formulate enduring economic policies capable of liberalizing the business environment and keeping the economy on a steady path to recovery. He stated this at a presidential policy dialogue organized by the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Musa Toliat completes the report.
The acting president, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, who was represented by the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Okechukwu Enelama, said, having recorded successes in its 60-day economic action plan to reposition key ministries, departments and agencies of government to facilitate flexible operations, the federal government is poised to address fundamental issues in infrastructural development. He assured members of the organized private sector that the federal government will continue to provide an enabling environment for businesses and investments to thrive. Professor Osinbajo urged them to key into the economic recovery and growth plan with a view to investing in the 5 key areas of priority of the economic plan.
We are prioritizing 5 areas or 5 sets of actions to stabilize the macroeconomic environment, achieve agriculture and food security, ensure energy sufficiency in power and petroleum products, improve transportation infrastructure, and drive industrialization, especially leveraging our SMEs.
There were contributions from the Lagos State Government, Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, the Nigerian Stock Exchange, and the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria.
Platforms like this give us the opportunity to shape the future, to contribute individually or collectively to advancing Nigeria's economy.
We will continue to collaborate with the government to ensure quality outcomes from these policy measures.
The Presidential Policy Dialogue is the second in a series organized by the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry to intimate private sector investors of government economic policies and programs. In Lagos, Musa Toliat, NTA News.
The Federal High Court sitting in Lagos has ordered the Department of State Security, DSS, to charge the former gubernatorial candidate of Anambra State and Managing Director of Capital Oil and Gas, Ifeanyi Ubah, to court within 48 hours or release him unconditionally. Justice Mohammed Idris, who gave the order, held that Ubah's detention without charge violates his rights. Vera Chumoba has more.
The DSS had arrested Ifeanyi Ubah over alleged economic sabotage and illegal sale and diversion of petroleum products NNPC stored in his tank farm. Ubah had prayed the court to order his release as his continued detention amounts to violation of his fundamental rights. DSS had, at the last adjourned date, filed a preliminary objection requesting the court to decline jurisdiction and dismiss the application, as all infringements allegedly committed by the applicant took place in Abuja and not Lagos. In his ruling, Justice Idris held that Section 41 of the Constitution and Article 12 of the African Charter on Human and People's Rights guarantee to every Nigerian the right to move freely. He warned that there will be dire consequences if the government continues to violate human rights. He further held that democracy cannot be successful if government remains ambivalent about the rule of law and government authorities and powerful individuals are perceived to be above the law. Justice Idris, who said DSS lied on oath in a bid to justify Uba's illegal detention, also directed the Attorney General of the Federation to ensure strict compliance with the judgment of the court. He had earlier dismissed DSS and NNPC preliminary objections. In Lagos, Viera Chumuba, NTA News.
You're still watching NTA Network News. It's time to take a break for some messages. The news continues with Fumi after this timeout. Stay with us.
It's in the air. It's data. It's what you use every time you download music. It's what streams movies. It's what the banks use to check your account.
It's the very lifeblood of modern living. Data. And where does it all come from? According to industry sources, more and more of it came from here. They acknowledge that Glo is now the largest data network in Nigeria. With your own Glo One submarine cable linked seamlessly to tens of thousands of kilometers with your own fiber optic cable, Glo can provide a huge data capacity anywhere at a more flexible and affordable price than anyone. It's simple. So you see, Glo is in the air. It's everywhere. Say hello to the Grandmaster.
These data plans are available to all new customers and existing customers who renew their plans. Dial *777#. The largest data network, Glo, Grandmasters of Data. This must be one of Mother Nature's greatest gifts. But there's something else it gives us. When we see such beauty, we want to share it with those we love. That's what LG wants you to see. Just what we see now, through our technology. LG OLED TV.
I can't believe she just rejected me and my camera.
She rejected my lights. How can she not want makeup?
Maybe when the battery dies, she'll come back to us.
Nah, not with a 4,000 milliampere battery.
Experience the best selfies of your life. Xiaomi A1 Super Selfie Super Battery.
Coca-Cola?
Oh, it's happy hour. So, you want a free Coca-Cola, but you have to drink it here.
The Administrative Staff College of Nigeria, ASCON, wishes to invite administrative officers, auditors, accountants, investigative officers, budget and planning officers, procurement and stock verification officers on grade level 8 and above to its 4-day workshop on National Sensitization Workshop on Whistleblower Protection Act. Content of the workshop includes overview of the Whistleblowers Act, framework of the whistleblowing in the Nigerian economy, financial management and control measures, anti-corruption laws, audit and public accountability, Challenges of Whistleblowers Act and Protection and Security of the Whistleblowers. Date Monday 31st July to Thursday 3rd August 2017. Venue Ascon Complex Toku Badagry. Fees 75,000 naira per participant, excluding lodging and feeding. Please note, arrival and registration for the workshop will be done on Sunday 30th July 2017. Account name, Ascon e-collection account, payable at any commercial bank. Account number 0230055861019. For inquiry, contact Workshop Director G.A. Afolayan on 08033182344 or Workshop Coordinator on 08033889153. Announcer, Director General, Ascon.
Many thanks for being there. We begin this segment with business news. Minister of State Petroleum Ibe Kachukwu says conceptually Nigeria is not opposed to joining OPEC production cuts. Details with Moplang Dakok.
It's good to have you join me on Business News. The Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, Thursday resolved to extend oil outputs by 9 months. Meanwhile, Africa's third biggest oil producer, Equatorial Guinea, has been accepted as a new member of OPEC. The Corporate Council on Africa, a U.S. business association, says in order to strengthen Africa's economy, African ambassadors need to also focus on economic diplomacy by giving attention to promoting investments and businesses with other countries.
But one of the greatest things you can do to benefit your country is to really know how you can promote greater investment into your country, how you can facilitate businesses in the U.S. meeting with businesses in your country and hopefully promoting some joint ventures.
Let's look at today's exchange rate of the Naira against the dollar and other major currencies. The Nigerian Stock Exchange market closed on a positive note Thursday as the all-share index appreciated by 0.64%. Here are closing figures. And that's it on Business News at this time. I am Moplang Dakok.
Happening in the world of sports is next after these messages.
The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, is working to ensure access to safe, good quality essential medicines with the World Health Organization pre-qualification of made in Nigeria pharmaceutical products, stiffer penalties for fake drug offenders with a review of NAFDAC laws, national, regional, and international collaborations, cutting-edge technologies, including the mobile authentication service.
NAFDAC as an agency is indeed doing so much to protect the health of our nation. I urge everyone to support NAFDAC in ridding the country of fake drugs and unwholesome products.
Let us support NAFDAC to win the war against fake drugs and other unwholesome regulated products. NAFDAC, safeguarding the health of the nation.
The food is a well-balanced diet food because carbohydrate is there, protein is there, fruits is there. Earth-wisely, it will help the puppies to grow very well. Even if they are not able to get anything of such in their different homes, the one they take into school, it will help them a lot. We thank the government for even having this type of a program in mind, and they executed it very well. God will help them.
And Global Tidbits is next with Talatu Ezurike.
An Ethiopian opposition politician has been sentenced to more than 6 years imprisonment for encouraging terrorism. Comments on Facebook. The court, however, accepted his argument for a minimum sentence. Meanwhile, Amnesty International, earlier in the month, described the guilty verdict as a miscarriage of justice. From Belgium, U.S. President Donald Trump in Brussels for NATO talks. Security issues topped the agenda of the meeting, believed to send a strong political message of NATO's commitment to the fight against terrorism and also improve coordination within the coalition. Also, a minute's silence held for Manchester attack victims as Queen Elizabeth visited injured children. The police investigating the incident have stopped sharing information with U.S. after leaks to the media, which authorities frown at. That is along Global Tidbits. Talat Ezarike, NTA News.
And Manzi Marcus is next with Sports Update.
Bottlenecks and inefficiency in the running of the nation's